Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Plord and I'm going to be talking to you today about Chapter 3, Individual Characteristics. So if you'll follow along with me on this slideshow, individual differences are personal attributes that vary person to person. These differences can be physical, psychological, and emotional, and these differences allow different people to fit into different cultures in different environments and different companies better than others. No two people are the same, and I might fit somewhere that you may not because we have differences that allow for that to happen. And it's really important to know your personality, your values, your attributes, and really find somewhere that meshes with what you believe and what you have to offer. The concept of fit, this is really important. There are 4 fits that can determine who is hired and how successful someone can be in a given position. There's person-job fit, which is essentially how qualified someone is for a position. You wouldn't want like your surgeon to have only graduated high school. Like, that wouldn't be good. I wouldn't want that. Person group fit is how individuals fit in the work group style, skills, and goals. And oftentimes companies try to find your person group fit through the interview process, when you may interview with more than one person at different levels of the company or organization. Person-organization fit is the fit between a person's values, beliefs, and personality and the values, norms, and culture of the organization. So if you're pro-life, you're not going to want to work at a Planned Parenthood because your values don't align with your company's values, and that's not going to make for a happy work environment for you. Person-vocation fit is a fit between a person's interests, abilities, and values and personality and a profession. So using the same example like as before, if you're a little bit squeamish around blood, if you don't want to take care of sick people, work long hours, be on call 24/7, you're probably not going to want to be a doctor. You're probably not going to want to be a nurse, and you should probably stay away from that area, that professional area, and find something that really works for you. So making sure that you have a fit is incredibly vital to having increased happiness, satisfaction, and an increased work ethic. Realistic job previews are vital to not only your employees, but your company. It helps lower turnovers and helps your company be successful. Realistic job previews involve both telling both the positive and the potentially negative information to job candidates. And this allows a candidate to really sit down and understand the true culture of a company and determine if they are fit or not. If someone is working and they've only been told all of these great things about this position that they've taken, and something incredibly negative happens, they are going to lose interest and you may lose an employee. So it's very important to be open about what someone can expect from the job. Personality is a relatively stable set of psychological attributes that distinguish one person from others. As I said before with individual characteristics, there are no two people that are the same in the world. My personality is probably not the same as yours, and not everyone's personality goes together. Like, not everybody meshes well together. So there are the big 5 personality traits that can help organizations and individuals understand themselves. For organizations, it works to show predictors in certain situations. It allows them to know how a person will handle certain circumstances. The first is agreeableness, or the person's ability to get along well with others. Someone of high agreeableness is great to work with. They enjoy like group work, and someone with low agreeableness will probably stick to themselves. Conscientiousness refers to an individual being dependable and organized. Neuroticism is a person's tendency to experience unpleasant emotions. How often do they get angry? Are they stressed all the time? Is this the kind of person that we want to have in this organization? Extroversion is the quality of being comfortable with relationships. Introversion is the opposite, which is the tendency to be less comfortable in social situations. These two, you probably hear them all the time, as I'm an extrovert or I'm an introvert. Openness is the capacity to entertain new ideas and change with new information. An example of openness would be growing up and talking politics with your family and aligning your beliefs with everything that your family says. But obviously, as you get older and you're able to process information yourself, your views may at least slightly shift to your own values that you've created through learning on your own, not just what information is being passed down. The Myers-Briggs framework, the Myers-Briggs type indicators based on Carl Jung's work on psychological types. It's based on 4 preferences. They each have 2 descriptive words. They're opposites of each other, and at the end of the test taker is given a set of letters that reference their personality traits. The 4 scales are extroversion or introversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, and judging or perceiving. So an example would be ENFJ. The person would be an extrovert, they'd be intuitive, they're feeling, and they're judging. The Myers-Briggs type indicator is not reliable at all, so it should not be used for any kind of employment decisions. In fact, people will often take the Myers-Briggs and get a result and immediately take the indicator test again and get a completely different result. So it's really important to not base any employment decisions on that indicator and really work to understand each individual. Other important personality traits include locus of control, which is the extent to which one believes their circumstances are a function of either one's own action, which is an internal locus of control, or of external factors beyond one's belief, external locus of control. Someone who believes in fate would have an external locus of control, while someone who believes that they're going to ace this test because they've worked hard and they've studied for it would have an internal locus of control. Self-efficacy is the confidence in one's ability to organize and execute the courses of action necessary to accomplish a specific task. General self-efficacy is the generalized belief that we will be successful at whatever challenges we may face. So self-efficacy is looking at one specific task and realizing that you have the tools to achieve it, while general self-efficacy is looking at the big picture and knowing that you have the drive and determination or whatever you need to really get to where you want to go. Self-esteem is our feelings of self-worth, our liking or disliking for ourselves. And authoritarianism is the belief that power and status differences are appropriate within hierarchical social systems such as organizations. So it's appropriate to have a president of a company who makes, at least 6 figures, while the factory worker doesn't, because there has to be that hierarchical system in order to have the flow of information and maintain organization. Machiavellianism is a trait causing a person to behave in ways to gain power, control the behaviors of others. Someone who has high Machiavellianism can often lie to move forward in a position. They are rational and they're unemotional. Tolerance for risk is the degree to which a person is comfortable with risk and willing to take chances. A boss who is always willing to try something new to push forward and progress their company has a very high tolerance for risk. Tolerance for ambiguity reflects the tendency to avoid ambiguous situations as either threatening or desirable. So somebody with a low tolerance for ambiguity is going to be someone who analyzes every situation and tries to put them in either the threatening or desirable category, while others will just leave situations as they are. Type A personality is impatient, competitive, ambitious, and uptight. And there are obvious health risks that have been tied to being a type A. Stress leads to heart problems and high blood pressure. Type B personality is like the exact opposite. They're more relaxed, easygoing, and less competitive. Workplace bullying, or the bullying personality, is repeated mistreatment of other employees through verbal abuse or threatening conduct. And it can often be linked to Machiavellianism, because someone who is higher in Machiavellianism than others is going to be unemotional, and they are often not going to be completely rational in their thoughts. So oftentimes it can lead to this workplace bullying. Intelligence. Mental ability is most important in complex jobs. As I said earlier, I don't necessarily want a surgeon who, only finished high school, and that's why surgeons and doctors have to go through med school, and then they have to intern and spend all of this time just learning the ropes before they can, fully take on patients and have their own practices. So general mental ability is the capacity to rapidly and fluidly acquire, process, and apply new information. Information processing capacity is the manner in which individuals process and organize information. It may be affected by age. The information processing capacity is actually what lowers as you get older, not the general mental ability. Multiple intelligences. There are a number of distinct forms of intelligence that each individual possesses through varying degrees. There are different areas. There's linguistics, which is someone who's good with words, logical, mathematical, logic and numbers, musical, bodily, kinesthetic, body movements and control, spatial, visual, images and space, interpersonal, others' feelings, intrapersonal, self-awareness. And knowing your strong areas can really help you find the appropriate job for yourself. Emotional intelligence is the interpersonal capability that includes the ability to perceive and express emotions, to understand and use them, to manage emotions in oneself or others. It involves emotional regulatory process to control anxiety and other negative emotional reactions to generate positive emotional reactions. So Daniel Goleman defines it as the capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves and managing emotions as well as managing emotions well in ourselves and our relationships. Learning styles refers to individual differences in how we process information when problem solving, learning, or engaging in similar activities. Sensory modality is a system that interacts with the environment through one of the basic senses. So there's visual, auditory, tactile, and kinesthetic learners. 20 to 30% of American students are auditory learners, while the rest are comprised of a mixture of the other sensory modality styles. I, for one, am an auditory learner. In order for me to study, I have to have some kind of noise in the background, and I have to read at the same time. I know it's probably strange, but I just focus better on doing it that way. So Kolb Learning Inventory, there are 4 different styles. There is convergers, who depend on active experiments and conceptualizations to learn. Divergers, who depend on concrete experience and reflective observation. Assimilators, who depend on abstract conceptualization and reflective observation, and accommodators who rely on active experimentation and concrete experience. The learning styles orientation addresses the limits of the learning styles inventory by Kolb, and it identifies key styles and preferences for learning. So there are discovery learners who like exploration before learning. There's experiential learning, who people who prefer experiential learning prefer hands-on experiments. Observational prefers demonstrations and diagrams. Structured learning, they like processing strategies, taking notes, writing tasks down. And group learning, where they will prefer to work with groups. So understanding each of these different learning styles is really vital to understanding your own characteristics and working towards finding your fit, and of course for us right now, studying the best way that we possibly can. So with that, my question for you guys is to assess yourself and your own individual characteristics using all of the examples in this chapter. Which of them relate to you? Discuss a time when your characteristics influenced an experience at work, in a group or organization. Do you believe your experience could have been different through using different characteristics, or even just understanding differences better? So I really just want to learn some about you and make sure that you guys understand all of this information, because there was a lot. And I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to reading your responses. Thank you.